Donald Trump released a horrific new ad last night that really drums up fear mongering, includes Ilhan Omar, Kamala Harris, and very obvious racist dog whistles. So with that said, just let's take a look.
This is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not gonna stop, and they should not.
These people are tearing up our livelihood.
A third straight night, Portland police declared a riot.
The vast majority of the protest has been peaceful.
Over the weekend, 59 officers injured and 47 people arrested.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing a proposal to cut $1 billion from the New York City Police Department.
We need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
This has been declared a
riot. You won't be safe in Joe Biden's America.
That's an ugly ad. If you notice at the end, it shows Joe Biden kneeling with some Black Americans, and then immediately after it says "Stop the rioters." Who do you think they're talking about?
No, of course, but until it's what's interesting for me in that ad, until you hear the voice saying, talking about how dangerous Joe Biden was, that could have been an ad for why you need to elect Joe Biden, to me. I mean, and why you need to elect Democrats. You see Nancy Pelosi taking a knee with members of Congress. You see Joe Biden taking a knee with people protesting. You see all the chaos here that's been sown under Donald Trump. And then you find out that it's in fact a really racist ad being run by Donald Trump, and a tradition of racist ads dating back to at least Willie Horton, but probably a little bit further back into the civil rights movement era in '64, Johnson Goldwater. But here you're seeing this stuff with the Willie Horton ad. He was when Mike Dukakis was running in 1980. He was a furloughed prisoner when Dukakis was governor of Massachusetts, came out and killed somebody or raped somebody, and that was used against Mike Dukakis. And you saw these black men going through a turnstile at a prison, and that was about as racist an ad as I've ever seen. And this one, when you hear it's an ad for Donald Trump, turns into an outrageously racist ad.
And to me, I get so disgusted by the gratuitous showing of Representative Ilhan Omar repeatedly, over and over again. Not faced enough death threats, enough anger, enough vitriol, enough racism, enough xenophobia for a lifetime. I mean, that's one of the grossest things I've seen recently on the right, is their willingness to just go after her and make her this boogeyman, or boogeywoman specifically. And it has to do with the fact that she's from a different country, that she's Muslim, that she's a woman, and that she's Black. And it's this trifecta that just triggers the right. There's no real connection between Ilhan Omar and Joe Biden, but they make that connection in that ad specifically to drum up fears and racist attitudes. And this is what they're running on. I mean, what Michael said is true. This is a standard playbook by Republicans going back decades, where they talk about law and order, and they talk about lawlessness, and Democrats are gonna create lawlessness, and we're gonna be tough on crime, and the streets are gonna be clean. I don't think it plays that well. One, because at the same time, they're trying to talk about how Joe Biden wrote the crime bill. Okay, then what is it? Was Biden too tough on crime when he wrote the crime bill, which is the reality? Or is he in bed with Antifa and rioters and looters, and Biden is coming out and doing ads himself, having to respond to this slander and saying, I do not believe rioting and looting should be happening. I believe it's illegal, it's bad behavior, it's not protesting, whatever. But this is what we're having a conversation about now, and I don't think that's what's on people's minds. When everyone is waking up in quarantine, when there's over 190,000 Americans who have died of COVID-19, when the economy's in a depression, when there's mass unemployment, tens of millions of Americans unemployed, it's really difficult to change the conversation to rioting and looting. And especially when you don't have a coherent message, and Biden's lawlessness and that vision of him is already shaky. I just don't know how you can effectively make that case.
No, and they're not effectively making it. If you look at the polling in Wisconsin since Kenosha, when the Republicans and Bill Stepien, who runs the president's campaign, started making Kenosha, making this about law and order, making this about the differences between the chaos that Joe Biden is endorsing and what Donald Trump is saying, even though somehow it's happening while he's president, somehow he's not responsible for it, but the guy who was vice president 4 years ago is. I think when you see that it's not working and you see polling in Wisconsin not moving at all since Kenosha, I think they're going to have to look at this and say, maybe this isn't working. Maybe this isn't the road down which to go. And for a lot of Republicans, it's Ilhan Omar. For many Republicans, though, it's a Muslim woman, because they don't know who Ilhan Omar is. It's the other. And it's been the other for Republicans for a very long time in America, going back to Eleanor Roosevelt, who was this woman who was powerful within her husband's home, which they hadn't seen before. So they made it about Eleanor Roosevelt. Moving into other times when you'd have you had Jesse Jackson in 1984, using him as a candidate, showing that the Democrats are embracing Jesse Jackson's radical agenda. And then, of course, as we know, going into 88 with Willie Horton, and the other that you had with Hillary Clinton for a long time. Now you have Omar. Now you have Ocasio-Cortez. They use it well generally. I don't think they're using it well here.
Yeah, when material conditions for people on the ground are this bad, I just find the efforts to lean into culture wars so silly. But I've had really depressing conversations with smart people about how perhaps politics have become so disconnected from material conditions that this might work. I don't think it does, but yeah. I can't.
I don't think it does now. I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't think it does. And I think just one more thing, like this isn't new. And when I say they've used it well and they've done well with it, they've won because of it, right? These ads have resonated. I still think they were ugly before I was born with Eleanor Roosevelt. They were ugly with Hillary Clinton. They're ugly with Nancy Pelosi, and they're uglier now with Ilhan Omar. But they have worked. This time, I don't think they're going to work, because I don't think that people are tuned into this right now. And when they don't have a job and their economies are shut down, just not going to happen.
I think you're right.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.